Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration Live with Lee. I am your host, Attorney Lee Marvin, and it is Monday, June 23rd, 2025, and I'm here to answer your immigration questions, talk about topics relevant to immigration. Politics is always in there a bit, but it's mostly to answer your questions about immigration matters, general, specific. If they're too specific, I always provide information on how you can reach me directly, book a time to talk to me so we can talk more intimately about your process. The goal is to get everyone and their loved ones together in the same place. And for many of my followers and fans, that's here in the United States. So I do everything in my power to help people reunify with their loved ones in the United States with some sort of legal status. And that is the name of the game these days, being in the United States with some sort of legal status. It's becoming more and more challenging based on everything that's going on with the politics, court decisions, lawsuits, but we weather the storm because this is the nature of the beast, which is immigration. If you have questions, please post them in the comment section. And I will answer them as I see them. So you don't have to ask. Just go ahead and post your question. And if I can get to it, I will. If I can't, well, I will put the information on how you can get in touch with me directly. But again, I'm appreciative of everyone who's joining today from Instagram, from Facebook, and from YouTube. Okay, so please don't hesitate to post your questions so I can get to them. Okay, so we have a number of joiners. People are joining us on Instagram. Hello, Instagram. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. So if you have some questions, again, please feel free to ask those questions when you have them. Like here's a question from Ale. Currently, I hold temporary green card. Is it safe to go outside the U.S.? And when you mean temporary green card, you mean a conditional green card is what I'm assuming. So you're a conditional resident. If that is what you mean, because honestly, it can't be anything but that because there's no other temporary green card that I'm aware of. But conditional status is not the full 10 years. And yes, you're absolutely, completely permitted and allowed and encouraged to take advantage of that right, which is the right to international travel. Make sure you don't violate that stay by staying too long outside the country. You married a U.S. citizen who I'm assuming sponsored you for the green card process within the first 2 years of your marriage. Therefore, you get the conditional green card. But yeah, you can travel, Ale, absolutely, okay? Okay, here's a question I'm getting. My name is John Sue, and I am from Turkey. Thank you for joining us from Turkey. I don't know if you're actually there or you're just from Turkey, but either way, thank you. I've been in Istanbul. Awesome, awesome. Let's see, what do we have here? You live in West Virginia. My question is, I got my work permit and travel permit. Is it okay to travel outside the country? The I-131 travel permit. So yes, if you've got a travel permit and your green card request is being adjudicated or being reviewed by immigration, that travel permit does allow you to travel internationally while your process is being reviewed. Kudos to you for doing that. A lot of people don't do it and then they don't have the ability to travel. But yes, if you have it and your green card process is pending, you definitely have the right to travel on that travel permit. So good luck to you and happy travels, okay? Okay, let's see here. So, yep, I'm looking for more questions from you guys. Usually I've got a ton of questions for my YouTube channel. I'm not seeing any questions tonight. Maybe it's because I didn't say the magic word, which is please. But also, I didn't invite you all to tell me where you're joining from. Usually I tell people, hey, where are you joining me from? It's important for everyone to understand context, especially with immigration. Are you joining from Colombia? We typically have a lot of people who join us from Colombia, but we have people from all over the United States, Mexico, obviously. We have Jamaica. So please let me know where you're joining us from, so we all feel a little bit closer together when we know where you're joining us from. Okay. So here's a question. Okay, here's a question from Noel. Do we need to have an engagement photo when applying for a 129F? Also, we only have one photo with a family. Is that fine? You're from Orlando. Thank you for joining us from Orlando. Okay. So, good question, because it brings to mind a number of different things for people who are trying to get fiancé visas. First of all, the answer to your question is you don't have to have an engagement photo, right? It's not necessary. What the government wants to see is that you have been together within the last 2 years before you file. Have you physically been in the same place? And having pictures is a good way to show that, okay? But you don't have to have a formal engagement photo. No, absolutely not. So that's not a deal breaker. And you only have one photo with family. Is that fine? Again, everything comes down to how much other information you do have. Will they say no engagement photo? No. Only one picture with a family? No. They don't say that. They look at everything that you do have, and they make a gut call. It's like, okay, is this person really marrying someone else or wanting to marry? Is there enough here to show us that they have that relationship and that intention? Okay, there's a number of ways to do it, but those two are not deal breakers. Okay, so you'll be fine if you have other information as well. And this is probably a good time for me to put that link on here in case people do have questions that span more than what this the live answer show will give you. I'm posting my link so you can book a time to talk to me directly. Okay, I'm gonna do it on Instagram here too. Let's see here. Okay, it's on there. I'll get to the questions here in a second. Let me get back over to my YouTube channel here. Okay, so Pedro from Grand Rapids. Thank you for joining us, Pedro from Grand Rapids. I have heard, whoops, let me put this here for you guys so you can see Pedro. Good looking guy. So I've heard that F2A dates for filing is open this month. It's now the right time for us to submit the full adjustment of status package. So I just recently did the visa bulletin video that there's, as far as I saw, they're not current, right? So meaning the F2A category still has a wait depending on when your priority date is. But you need to take a look at that. I don't remember what it is. It depends on the country your significant other is in, and it depends when you filed. That priority date means everything as far as moving forward. So if your dates aren't good, then you will not be able to move forward with the full adjustment status package until the dates are. Okay, so Pedro, that tells me that you probably are a legal permanent resident rather than a citizen. If you see that link that I posted up here, if I can help you figure out whether you're eligible for citizenship, because that will immediately make the wait go away. You won't need to wait for any visa to be available. So we can talk if you need to, but that link is up there in case you need it, okay? All right. All right. So we have a friend, my Armenia is joining us from LA. And I forget, you've been on here before. I don't know if that's LA, California, LA, or LA, Louisiana. Either way, thank you for joining. I'm assuming you mean LA, meaning California. So hopefully things are going there in LA. I know it was a bit sketchy the last few weeks, but I know that things are back to normal. So hopefully everything was fine for you. Okay. Okay. So your question is, tell me if it's safe that I travel outside the U.S. these days. I'm assuming is what you mean. So it depends on your status. Is the first thing that I think of. It depends on your status. If you've got a green card, yeah, absolutely. And clearly, if you're a naturalized citizen, even more so. So, but it depends on how you're in the United States, what your process is, and all those things. So I can't fully answer your question, but I will say that if you have legal permanent residency status, absolutely, it's always safe to travel. Okay, I haven't ever had a client or anyone even on the show um, tell me that they had trouble entering the United States with abroad travel. So I'm assuming you're going to be good. Um, but it depends on what your status is here in the United States. Okay. Let me flip over here to Instagram. I got a bunch of questions on Instagram here. Um, okay. This is, okay. Hamez El Leze. I have a NTA, which is notice to appear, and a court date listed, but court does not have the file, so I file asylum with USCIS or the court. Um, so, my friend, if you've got a notice to appear in a court date, you need to wait and you need to ask the judge what the judge is going to let you do. Usually, when you have when the court has jurisdiction over your life here in the United States, they're the one that you're going to be filing really well asylum for sure. It's possible to file other things outside of the court, but asylum is going to be with the court. Okay, but definitely ask the court when you go to your court visit when and how you can actually file for your asylum. Okay, don't miss the deadline because this is happening a lot, and this current administration, they are unforgiving when it comes to these things. So do not miss a deadline. Um, or you won't be able to file, and you'll get a notice that you got to leave within 33 days or whatever it is. Okay, so don't miss that. Very important. Okay. Um, okay, so Mugisha, my fiance is living in France, but he's banned, but his, oh, okay. Gotcha. I'm reading here. But he is from a banned country, but he has refugee travel. Our case is now in the embassy in France. Is it going to affect his visa? Okay, so if you've sponsored your fiance who's living in France but is from a banned country, I think that's what the question is. So fiance visa, as I'm assuming that's what you're doing. If you're filing a fiance visa for your significant other who is from a country that has been designated as a banned country, it is highly unlikely that the government is going to move forward and approve that request because they're not going to approve a request for someone from a country that is not permitted to enter the United States. So being in France doesn't mean anything other than he's got a safe place to be. It doesn't take away the country that he is from and who he's banned from, unless your significant other gets some sort of status in France, and then that might change things. But it's unlikely that the United States government, is going to approve that request, whether it's fiance visa or a green card request through the marriage. Okay, I think it probably is easier to get approved through the green card process rather than the fiance visa, but it's hard to say based on what's going on right now. Okay, so if you have a more direct question, you can look at the link that's right above your post. If you need to book a time to talk to me, you may do so, and I could help you try to figure out more. If there's more information, That way I have a complete picture, okay? So let me go over to my Instagram or my YouTube family. Okay. 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 So Pedro, thank you. Thank you for that follow-up. You did confirm my suspicion about being green card holder and you want to apply for your wife's green card. Yes, use that link. Absolutely. If I can help you further, I would love to do that for you. Okay. Um, okay. So let's see here. I had some other questions earlier from that were put on my YouTube channel that I wanted to kind of take a look at. But first, I'm going to look at Zach. Okay. Zach asks if my fiance is Venezuelan but has a DNI in Argentina. I don't know what a DNI is. I'm assuming some sort of status in Argentina and hasn't been in Venezuela for 10 plus years. Is there any chance we could still get a K1 approval? Zach, what is a DNI? Could you answer me that? Because again, a lot of this stuff is temperamental. I mean, we don't know what the Trump administration is truly going to do until stuff cycles through. What my understanding is that if someone has some sort of legal status in another country, usually it comes down to citizenship, then you can use, the other country as your country of origin to be able to move forward. I don't know what's happening with this Venezuela stuff, Nicaragua, Haiti, a lot of these different travel ban countries. This is a weird thing, and everybody's adapting to it. And believe me, as I get more information, I do announce it. I either do a video or I do it on my live broadcast, which obviously that's why you all are here. Okay, so Zach says it's a green card, not citizenship. So Zach, that's a mighty good question. I wish I knew the answer. I don't know what the Trump administration would do about something like that. Having legal residency in another country, I think probably increases the chance that they will grant a K1 visa. It's one of those things that you got to try and see what they say. Everything's so fresh and new, it's really hard to say. So I wish I had a better answer for you, Zach, but it's just too soon to tell. There's too much going on. I mean, there's still lawsuits against the Trump administration. So I do know that the Supreme Court has said, has agreed with Trump on a number of things. So I think that the travel ban countries temporarily are countries that will be permitted to be banned because, the government cited these issues from these countries that have a direct impact on the United States, the security. So, I think that these are probably here not permanently, but they're going to be here for at least a couple of years, I would imagine. So yeah, Zach, you're welcome. I'm sorry I couldn't provide more information, but I would definitely encourage you to keep moving forward. It's worth trying it. I mean, it's definitely worth trying it because the government, they could say yes, right? They could say no, they could say yes, but you won't know unless you try it. So I encourage you to definitely give it a shot, okay? Okay, so I was going to go to the questions that I had earlier from my YouTube channel. One second, I'm responding to a message here. Okay. Somebody who's asking me a question, I'm trying to get clarification on exactly what they want, what they're asking, okay? So stand by here, folks. One moment here. Okay. Yeah, honestly, I've gotten so many questions about this travel ban. Um, Yolande, hi, welcome from Guyana. Thank you for joining us again. You're here most Mondays, and I truly appreciate that. So, welcome to you tonight. Um, but what I was saying is, I've been getting steady questions about the travel ban issue, um, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but the government says no from certain countries unless you already have um, legal residency status, and then you're fine. But new requests probably are not going to be approved, but we just don't really know. Okay. And that was from a question that I had here earlier on my YouTube channel. Okay. Um, so this is kind of a nuance to that question. I'm on a K1 visa and almost ready for the interview um, from a fully banned country. What should I do? So this question basically, if the government still schedules an interview, even if it's for someone from a banned country, then you go to the interview and do your best. Okay, because like I said, they may have exceptions that they permit. We just don't know because how the government processes and does their job, they don't always tell. So I'm telling people if you've got a process that's ongoing, you absolutely need to follow through with it because there's no sense abandoning your process if you don't truly know if there's going to be a problem with it. So keep moving it forward. That's really the best option, and that's my recommendation. Um, okay, one second here, folks. Okay, all right. So, um, okay, I have a question for you. My brother came to America when he was 3 years old on a Brazilian passport. At the time, my dad had lied to get it. Unfortunately, he passed away, and all the papers that we all got, um, he's the only one who didn't get his green card through the deceased father. And he now has DACA for 3 years. Is he in danger of getting deported? Um, huh. That's a very interesting question. Again, about this travel ban business. If somebody has DACA, okay, and they maintain DACA, DACA is freedom from deportation, okay, amongst other things. So if this gentleman who may not be watching tonight, because this was from earlier today, if somebody is from a banned country but is here in the United States and has some sort of status like DACA, those individuals are not going to have to worry about being rounded up and deported from the United States. Specifically, DACA is for people to fight deportation. So that individual would not have to worry because DACA, as long as it's maintained, is protection, and that person would not need to worry about being deported. Okay. Let's see here. Um, okay. Um, sorry for the dead air here, folks. I'm reading. Um, okay. So this is a question again from my YouTube channel. My case was submitted more than 2.5 years ago, but there was no progress. And then 3 months ago, my spouse became a citizen. And she contacted USCIS and submitted a case inquiry for the case being outside normal processing times. and they hadn't gotten a positive response from USCIS. The tough thing with that is if immigration doesn't respond, there's not a lot you can do but keep trying. Okay, so this person, the key here, folks, is that the process started based on a petitioner being a legal permanent resident. That petitioner became a U.S. citizen. There's no waiting period for visas for U.S. citizen. So how do we get the case moving forward again? Well, you got to reach out to USCIS and inform them of that. And you've got to go through the ringer on that and the phone and waiting in line. But eventually you have to get that agent on the phone and tell them of the update and ask them what proofs they need to be sent in order to change the category of the status to a naturalized citizen sponsoring an immigrant. Okay. So again, that's something that's a bit more complicated than most. And again, if somebody is watching, they have something similar to that, I would encourage you to book a time to talk to me so I can help figure that out. But then again, I just kind of told you the answer. So you might not need to necessarily book a time. You just need to reach out to immigration and ask them what information they need in order to change your category. Okay. All right. Almost done for tonight. Our time is almost up. So I wanted to see if I missed anyone on YouTube here. So this is from Spice. Do lawyers let the applicant know when they send applications to USCIS? I do. I don't know what other attorneys do, but I definitely keep my clients in the loop at all times. We're constantly providing information, updates, whether that's just verbal or whether it's through the mail. But yeah, if you have a good lawyer, yeah, they will keep you in the loop and let you know when they do things like that. Okay. Don't feel shy. If you have an attorney that's helped you through this, you certainly should be able to reach out and talk to them and ask them that question. Okay. So again, speaking from experience, my staff and myself, we're very conscientious for our clients. So I would expect that a lot of attorneys are, maybe not everyone, but you have the right to contact them. Okay. Okay. So Yolande, oh yeah, that's right. You're joining from New York. You've been working there since 2022. Again, thank you for joining us. Same time zone, much bigger place, New York. Okay. So what other questions do we have before we wrap it up tonight? I asked the questions that I prepared. So I will say that if there's any last questions that you would like to ask, I would be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we will end for the week, and then next week, you can join me at 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. I put my link in the chat so that people can reach out to me directly if you need to talk about your case and this live just doesn't cut it for you. So yeah, I'm happy to help you. And yeah, Spice, I'm happy. The pleasure is mine. So thank you for your question. See you all next week, 8:00 Eastern Standard Time, which is Detroit time. Join us next week with your questions. Hopefully things are less crazy in a week than they are now. They're less crazy now than they were last week, so we'll take it. But again, we'll make it through it. So as I always say, stay informed and stay safe. See you next week.